Anyway, now that I'm thoroughly depressed, let's move on. So the Harfoots arrive to help Graham Chapman, and they spring the witch's trap. Okay, I'm really sick of this story. This segment is an avalanche of dumb that just compounds into a bedrock of stupid. No more fucking around. I want to be done with this. These Harfoot things are gross and distasteful, and this show really isn't worth all the time I put into it. So, of course, our plucky little pint-sized heroes show up with absolutely no plan. And these girls set a trap that in no way shows any kind of plan.
Well, in the grand tradition of bad ideas, this might well be the worst yet.
Well, have you got a better notion? The third one's gone. Where'd the third one go? Better 2 than 3. Now's our chance.
First, these three are convinced that this dude is Sauron. They knock him out, they decide to tie him up, then when something occurs to alter this decision...
What is it?
They quickly come up with another plan that requires that they just toss Sauron into the bushes like an old bag of garbage.
Yeah, but they didn't have time to come up with a better plan.
Well, sure, but a plan for what? You make it sound like a platoon of soldiers is marching towards him. They know who it is, and based on this little smirk, my girlfriend knows this is going to be a small diversion. Literally. There's no look of fear on this face. Second, they think this dude is Sauron. They just toss him on the ground? What is this?
Yeah, but maybe Boydie's fart magic is like a 12-hour spell.
Well, normally, maybe. But dude is an unknown entity that fell from the sky. Again, they think he is Sauron. Wouldn't they be treating him with a little more caution? Not to mention a little more respect. Do I really need to explain just how poorly constructed this scene is? So was this the extent of the witch's trap? Just make one half-hearted swipe for Nori? Were they trying to capture her or jump scare her to death? Birdie doesn't just allow herself to be led back to the main Harfoot group where she could do some really smelly fart magic damage. No, she just kind of grabs for Nori while Sadek frantically humps her leg. Look at this. This is pathetic. Look, ignore Nori and look what's going on back here. What is this? This is exactly what I meant when I said that when something does happen in this series, it's filmed like a TV show as opposed to a grand cinematic event. So my girl here strolls in to put an end to racism in Middle-earth once and for all, and look at Birdie Chapman. It's like she's shocked at this turn of events. Sorry, but wasn't killing the Harfoots your goal? Why is she just standing there staring at him?
Because your focus is supposed to be on Nori in this shot and Sadek in this shot. If there's even one more thing happening in the scene, the idiots watching at home won't know what to look at, and the dramatic element of the scene will be lost. Because you know that the audience is just a bunch of morons. Women. Women are the audience.
That was extremely sexist, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
You said that you were doing my voice.
Don't change the subject. This is a small-scale epic written by small-scale writers. There's no passion from the crew. They let all the set builders and effects crews and costume designers and the rest of the behind-the-scenes team do all of the hard work, and they just shot it with minimal effort and called it good. There is no excuse for this. Watch again. Sadek grabs Birdie.
Run!
Sadek gets stabbed. This is a criminal waste of effort. And this is exactly why me and Edith would never work out. My girl has no strength in her convictions. She just doesn't follow through. Look, one of your enemies is helpless, right in front of you. As an evil bitch, wouldn't you just quickly kill your enemy, then stand up to face the problem that's very slowly walking toward you? Or would you just let this enemy go to cause even more problems? In a word, dumb. Again, this is really well done. It looks good. But we've already seen this. It's just Gandalf and Saruman all over.
Yeah, but this time it's got floating rocks.
It certainly does have rocks.
It sure does. And that's money, baby. Each one of those rocks costs a couple of grand.
Look, that's great that you got expensive floating rocks, but at any point did you think that you might want to use some originality in your show?
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Well, I just mean that this has already been done.
No. I mean that word. Originality. What's that word supposed to mean? I never heard that word before.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Go pound sand, you wise ass. Sheila, get me a dictionary, quick.
Again, this looks good, but just tossing in some floating rocks doesn't mean we haven't seen this before. And why is Birdie spending so much time thing handling Graham Chapman when her fart powers are a quicker and successfully tested alternative? Look how shocked she is.
What the hell? How did that little racist just pop out of the ground like that? I just can't process this new information. I'd better just stand here until I puzzle out this conundrum. Why? Is that a blade in its bigoted little hand? What could it possibly want to do with that? Yes, I'll stand right here until it all makes more sense. It appears to be swinging the blade in a downward arc. What could this all mean?
This is so dumb. The element of surprise was wasted when Sadik Dice Clay decided to pause for his hero moment.
What are you, a homo?
If a wild animal had jumped out, would she have just stood there in shock while it attacked her? Pathetic. Okay, I know what's happening in this scene, but I have a different take. The Harfoots eat like deer, right? Lots of fruits and grass and veggies. So they probably shit like deer. So my theory is that they're pitching a squat right into their hands and pelting Birdie with rock-hard little shit nuggets. Not only is it funnier when you think about it like this, but we've already seen how filthy and gross these things are. Is this really outside of the realm of possibility? On a serious note, first, isn't it interesting how, out of the 4 Harfoots, with magic and knives and flamethrower hands and irritating screaming, the only one to be mortally injured is the Harfoot male? Shocking. And second, I don't know how original this fire thing is, but I gotta say I like this. It's a big, ostentatious display of very destructive power that makes very little difference in a story that's already so goddamn boring. This should be a wow moment, but it just kinda happens.
What have they done to you?
They show me what I am.
Only you can show what you are. You choose by what you do.
Then Nori tells him what he already knows, but unless it comes from a female's mouth, it really doesn't hold any weight. Now, does it?
Close your eyes. It'll only hurt for a moment.
This is hysterical. She just looks at her hand. This is so stupid. Now, if her magic just works randomly whether she wants it to or not, then this moment makes a little more sense. But my assumption is that control over magic starts in the mind. In other words, Birdie decides to pick up the fire and use it, and when she's done, she decides to stop using it and the fire goes away. So if she has control over the fire and it goes out, wouldn't the automatic assumption be that some external force extinguished the flame? And if this is the case, why is she just staring at her hand? Why wouldn't she immediately start looking around for whoever or whatever got between her and her ability to channel this magic? This is so stupid. Like pulling the trigger and nothing happens. So you point the handgun right at your face and stare down the barrel with shocked amazement. They should just keep cutting back to the scene randomly throughout the show. A year goes by and she's still staring. And this part made me scream in frustration.
Shadow, I bid you return.
He is not Sauron. He is the other. The East.
First of all, what and what? What Istar? What other? At no point in this season did they ever give even the slightest tiny inkling that there was an other. I know what they're doing. It's a magician's trick. Watch my right hand while my left hand slides into my pocket. The plan is to reveal Sauron, but we're not supposed to guess it's Halliburton, which is why they spent the entire season foreshadowing Graham Chapman as evil. He loses control. Bad things happen when he uses magic. This is a cheap and sloppy way to deliver this information. Imagine Luke and Vader's Bespin fight. Now imagine there's no patriarchal revelation. Luke gets his hand cut off. Luke falls. Luke's rescued. Now cut way forward to the fight at the end of Jedi.
You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi.
All this happens. Then...
Oh, by the way, I'm going to save you because I'm your daddy.
Cool.
This is so lazy. You know, Amazon could have simplified this by simply showing 2 falling stars. This would have been all the foreshadowing we needed. Just a quick scene in episode 1 requiring no dialogue that neatly sets up this reveal. Sure, it would have been stupid, and it might have broken the lore, but Amazon has proven on multiple occasions they don't give a shit about lore. How is this lazy, last-second revelation anything close to good writing?
Hey, you can't expect us to remember everything.
I can't? Look, this isn't you and your buddy bullshitting on a street corner. This is a multi-million-dollar project, a scripted series. You ever hear of a second draft? Or a third?
What's a draft supposed to mean?
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Listen, the first draft of your script is rough, so you sit down and refine the story, add some new ideas here, remove some ideas that just don't work. Do you have a running theme? Well, make sure it comes across without beating your audience over the head with it.
Yeah, but my mother always told me I was her little angel, and that everything I did was perfect.
Why doesn't that surprise me? So there's a good side to Sauron's bad, and what's more, they already know this even if we don't. You think they might act in this way? Instead of just throwing yourself at the feet of the first one of these two that you come across, how about a test? Birdie seems to be able to turn herself into anyone. Why not turn into a voluptuous, scantily clad girl lost in the forest who desperately needs this guy's help? But not before getting a taste of this wino's hog leg. Tempt him, test him, make sure this is the guy you're looking for. Oh my god, this is lazy.
From shadow you came. To shadow I bid you return.
So this is a good read. Probably the most Tolkien-ish line in the season. Well spoken. I see why they went with this guy. He's expressive, has a kind face, a voice that's commanding and then friendly. Daniel Wayman is just fine. But there's a problem. First, the Nomad has proven that she's pretty good at throwing knives. Wouldn't this be a good time to throw one? She doesn't even try.
From shadow you came.
Anyway.
He is not Sauron. He is the other. The East. He is...
I'm good.
Yes, this is supposed to be a callback to Nori.
You're not a peril. You're good.
I'm good.
You're good.
Because after all, what would he be without this young girl's arms stuffed up his ass, working him like a puppet? The problem here is that up to this point, Graham Chapman has been the best character on the show. And that's because up to this point, he hasn't had a character. Surrounded by all of this abysmal writing, Graham Chapman was the least affected. The writers hadn't had a chance to fuck him up. And so when it came time to step up to the plate, when it came time to write some weighty, revealing dialogue that's to be our first real introduction to the character, they don't have him say,
I am a servant of the light.
Or,
I exist to smite darkness.
Or even,
Hey, if you're not gonna finish that Twinkie sandwich, can I have a bite? I'm starving.
Idiot. No, what they have him say is,
I'm good.
So no matter what he does, no matter where his story goes, no matter what the writers do to salvage this character, I will always remember that when it came right down to introductions, the writers could think of no other way for this guy to express that he's a force for good, other than to have him say it in a way so that even a kindergartner could understand.
Me go good, da!
This is the most embarrassing thing I've seen in many, many years.
Nobody goes off trail.
Because for a Harfoot, these two things can mean death. Billy Buck was married and his wife died.
You know, after I lost Rose, it was like the wheels broke out from under me.
I think it's kind of obvious that this was Nori and Shitty's biological mother. Billy Buck remarries this woman, Hallie.
And then I saw you in the grass, right in this clearing. I knew I'd grow old with you.
And Hallie is not their biological mother. Obviously. So this would make Hallie their stepmother. Hallie doesn't much appear to like Nori.
We'll make it to the Grove.
How?
I'll stay at the front of the caravan. And we got Nori. No. Look, once that girl puts her head to something...
Nori's a little too free-spirited for her.
But the Wayans are still out there.
They'll be fine. Goldie, Nori's with them. You know Nori.
Yes, I do.
Nori causes problems for the family.
You may as well have stamped our name in the book of the Left Behinds.
I find it interesting that by story's end, Halitosis here, much like a wicked stepmother, sends Nori about as far off trail as she possibly could. Not alone, but with a strange man who the tribe thinks of as dangerous. And you know she talked Billy Buck into it.
Oh, go on. Go on. Go on. Before you lose your nerve.
Or we lose ours.
The similarities are interesting.
And I'll be careful.
Amazon wants to allude to a classic fairy tale, but they can't bring themselves to write a hateful female character without pulling back and trying to force us to like her.
You'll be bold.
Another bucket for monsieur. And perhaps a hose.
Alright, well, I have nothing left to say about this ridiculous mess, apart from being surprised that Bertha didn't fill the Sam role and join these two. She's basically an orphan, there's really nothing tying her to this tribe. And her best friend is going. It doesn't make much sense that she wouldn't go. Apart from this, the winner of the Graham Chapman Look-alike contest does a fine job. He's got a presence, a good strong voice, an expressive face. I like Daniel Wayman. No homo. These Harfoots are terrifying creatures, and what's so frightening about them is the sinister way in which they were written, showing us that we should love and root for them, while surreptitiously writing in their disturbing, vile deeds and utter disregard for each other's well-being as if it were normal. Abandon those who appear to be a drag on the community. Secretly meet to decide the fate of an entire family. Fill this story with your disgusting and disturbed racist ideology. Now, as dull and tedious and disappointing and tiresome and embarrassing and derivative and stupid as this storyline was, they can fix it. New showrunners, new writers, an experienced and, most important, invested film crew. They can fix this show. Less emphasis on ideology, and even if they have to throw lore out the window, just tell a good story. And this has been another episode of Lord of the Rings, the Pile of Excrement. And with that, we end the Harfoot storyline for the season. The vicious little tribe of murderers are off on their migration. Nori and Graham Chapman are off on the start of their adventure toward the wilds of the East and into the lands of Rhûn. Oh, my testicles quiver with anticipation. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me for the final story of Galadriel, Celebrimbor, Halliburton, Delrond Half-Elf, and High King Gil-galad so I can finish this series and get my life back. Have a great week.